Assalamu alaikum everybody. This podcast is another ring to the same episodic series of Beyond the Sky. Um, in my last podcast, I talked about how God works inside out. And today we are going to discuss that. It is about the touch of nature, of course, that which can miraculously make a big change in the personality of someone. And of course, we have to regard that wherever it happens, because this is only with a spiritual effect and with the presence of divinity. Otherwise, it can never happen. The most difficult thing or task that we can ever imagine in this world that happens around us, that is change. Although change is the only constant thing in this world, you can say, but still, this is, if we talk with the hearts, if we talk with natures, it is very difficult for any person to change. So, if that change happens in someone's life, that can be considered only as a blessing. And we should have the screen of truth to filter and to see that change, which is, of course, residing in someone's heart. But how can that be done? Of course, you don't have to do a specialization to do this operation or to investigate someone's heart to understand this after a long process of valuations, but everything becomes so simple if we have our simple approach. Although this simple approach sometimes contains some kind of very complicated realities or networks that we need to understand, of course. When I talk about all this, I'm not claiming to be a very wise man, but I'm just inviting you to combine effort to dig deep down into the terrain of reality to find some pulse of wisdom. And this is possible only with a neutral approach. And we need to be unbiased. Here I would also like to share with you the most important word I have learned in my life, that is delusion. The concept of delusion. If understood well, we can explore the reality and, of course, can understand it in a better way. And, of course, to proceed further in our curiosity of the truth. And the final task of all the researchers is to reach the ultimate reality, of course, which is, in other words, God. And how we can find this reality? And why do we dig in ourselves? Why do we just try to identify the self, to identify the one residing in ourselves? Well, for the identification of the ultimate reality, again I'm repeating this term, or the God, we have to, of course, first of all, identify ourselves. So this is the first step, you can say, to reach that stage. We need to learn a pattern, a method of interpreting the realities so that we can just translate that into better codes. And of course, decodification is another process that will be followed later on. So here, at this stage, it is very necessary to understand a few things. Like, I would also like to again explain the concept of delusion. Delusion means basically you believe in something by your heart, but that is not true in the actual world. So, for example, if you believe in the existence of something and you have very staunch belief in the existence of that thing, but that is not existing in fact, because whenever we talk about the existence of anything, there might be only two shades, which is of course white or black. That's existing or not. However, it becomes really challenging for us sometimes to see through the pain of reality and to infer the actual facts that just align us with the actual nature. So why I'm using this word actual? Because I also want to draw the difference between actual and delusionary. So something which is drawn from delusion, of course, that is not reality, even not any version of reality, but we have to interpret the actually and see the actual reality out of so many versions in front of us. Just like, for example, we have so many religions, all of the religions cannot be true at the same time, because they have so many conflicting ideas, and they say that our God is saying this or that. We have to identify the actual religion which leads to actual God. And before that, of course, people also discuss about the existence of God. That is another aspect of the reality of existence. But still, we also have to regard this aspect of our mind, which is, of course, it can lead us to something which is not true or real. So, in all this, the original thing is to understand the psychological mindset of human beings. At the same time, as far as God's hand is concerned, and the miraculous effects that can actually be erupted out of that action by God, of course, and God is active, alive, and of course is able to influence and affect our life in many ways. And we regard this involvement of divinity at many stages or phases of our life. So I was talking about the change that happens inside heart. So there might be so many personalities around you, or we just when we look at the creator screen, whatsoever is just accessible in this modern age, we see that people change sometimes, and that can be a magical, a kind of miraculous change. So we also have to regard that. We can say that no, this person was like this or that before, but now he is claiming to be a good man. No, people can change, and we also have to follow the same reality by saying trying to fix ourselves and our ways all the time to be the better version of ourselves. Of course, it is possible only by believing in the right thing. Just like if I'm talking about the different aspects of our mental abilities, or the aspects, or how it changes by the time, or it can stick to one thing, of course, which can be based on something false, some kind of false idea, but still we have to just follow what is truthful at that specific time for us, because we are left with no option. So we always have to ask for the God's help. Only in that case, when we just show our modesty and we just make humble attempts to locate the reality inside us, so that leads us to the actual reality, or the ultimate reality. Once we get that, of course, then we just go free of everything, and we can just think neutrally, because through the eye of that ultimate reality. Of course, I'm not saying that, of course, no human existing in this world or ever existed who can just be like God, of course, but just I'm saying that we can follow, and we can try to follow the path of God, or how God works, and we can just actually understand the nature. And science is also an attempt to do so, to explore this world, to explore the nature, and by doing so we can understand the nature of God. So we should always be welcoming to this change that can actually bring a revolutionary change, and we need to understand the divine hand per se and divine presence, and we need to feel it, and perhaps in this way we can reach our final destination, and we can just be educated. And we have to have educated mind. Of course, it is possible only after following some directions, or following some instructions, and those instructions can also come down from God in so many ways. Like we have the scriptures, we have to regard them, but of course we can discuss about the existence and all that. Of course, it is about everyone's personal approach, personal matter, and because we will be treated personally at the end, but we need to talk about a lot of things. This approach actually can give us a guideline towards the truth. So it is all about the truth. We need to recognize, identify, understand the truth, to be truthful in this world so that we can live peacefully on this planet Earth. Thank you very much for your patience. See you in the next podcast. Take care. Allah Hafiz.